When you said Taliban are the legit... Dude, because how do you take over a fucking country that fast and with no resistance? I thought there was going to be a civil war. No one wants to fight back. Seems like people just accept them. Don't shoot the messenger. That's the sad fact. America pulled out after 20 years. Listen, they equipped. The Afghan government had the strongest... Thank you, Kerbab. They had the most training for the longest time, 20 years, best equipment from the world's number one superpower. And the minute they pulled out, the Taliban just took over. What's the excuse? What, they weren't well trained enough? There was no resist because Afghan National Army was corrupt and had no motivation to fight. Afghanistan has only 15% of the population. How do you know that? Because you're talking about that survey. Well, the fucking people who know what they're talking about reviewed the survey and they said the Afghan people, because they're so scarred by war, will literally tell the pollers what they detect they want them to hear, not the truth. You don't know how much support they have. I'm thinking 90% support, at least. The army was corrupt and didn't fight back. Okay. So what does that mean? What does that mean? The USSR pulled out and it lasted 3 years. Their government lasted 3 years in Afghanistan. The minute the US pulled out, it's over. There will be a civil war in 1 year. Okay. But don't be out here saying they don't got widespread support. There's no such thing as an army that takes over a country with zero resistance that doesn't have huge support. I was thinking at least 50%. At least 50. Like, there could be like a civil war because they're ethnic clashes and shit. If 90% of the people of Afghanistan support the Taliban, why are so many people trying to flee the country? Because the people who benefited from the other government want to leave. And there were a lot of people who benefited. They were the top of society. Dude, what you're saying is like, why after the Iranian Revolution did so many people flee? It's the same reason. They don't represent the majority. Thank you, Sunday. Appreciate it. I don't know if it's just urban or rural. I think it's the top urban. The elite in the urban places. You mean like girls in Afghanistan who were finally able to get education where the Taliban were kicked out of power? No, I don't mean them. Listen, don't try to play emotional fucking games with me. Don't try to play emotional games with me. By the way, because I'm hearing conflicting shit. I'm hearing the Taliban is not banning education again and they've changed. But don't give me your little bullshit. Because I could just bring up to you the little boys and children who were raped under the fucking U.S. government because of practices that the Taliban had banned but were revived because of the U.S. government. No, because I just fucking got you. What about bacha, bazi, huh? You want to defend that? Then stop being fucking emotional. Unless you want to defend bacha, bazi, don't fucking try to be emotional with me. There's ugliness on both sides. And it's just as ugly. Don't try to fucking get emotional with me. Oh yeah, there was definitely no sexual abuse by the Taliban. They banned the practice of bacha, bazi. Okay? So even if it did happen, it was nowhere near. It's like you're saying, oh, there was no women's education under the Taliban. Yeah, there was. It's just that it wasn't wide. It was marginal, right? It's the same thing with this. Don't be trying to play emotional with me. Oh, human rights? Listen, if you want to talk about that, you're going to have to take cover for the government that ruled after the Taliban. If you don't want to do that, just shut the fuck up. How marginal, though? This is serious shit. The Taliban formally banned the practice and eradicated the practice, more or less. So if it happened, it was like it was not an open secret. It was like something that was completely hidden from anyone's knowledge. Whereas the thing that goes now is an open secret that it happens. They also banned opium too and shit. Because they prefer children to be soldiers. Okay, but don't be out here trying to be emotional with me when you're defending child abuse. Afghanistan was a much better place under the US-backed Afghan government, according to you, not the Afghan people, because the Afghan people have not resisted the Taliban. So that's according to you. If you think that, why are you bothering me in my chat? Go to Afghanistan and try to convince the people that. Go convince the Afghan people that. Don't bother me. What do you want from me? Thank you, Havoc. Where are the protests against the Taliban? There's nothing. There's nothing. They literally took over Afghanistan effortlessly. They're effortlessly, like a knife through butter. They don't have the ability to resist without a U.S. presence. No nation is an independent, dignified, sovereign people if they don't have the ability to resist in their own fucking country. Oh, that's so patronizing. Because you're trying to paint the picture that everyone in Afghanistan is a vulnerable child or a vulnerable woman. No, Afghanistan has men too, okay? Shut the fuck up. What you're implicitly trying to say is that you consider the U.S. the male phallic authority of Afghanistan. Well, get the fuck out of here, you know? Like a colonialist, rapist sicko. You're the real man, right? U.S. is the real man in charge. Get the fuck out of my face. No dignified people will ever accept that. Another man controlling your shit? Get the fuck out of my face. The thousands of people scrambling to leave in a country of fucking, 38 million? Keep coping. No, thousands of elites scrambling is not enough fucking evidence to show that the majority of people are against the fucking Taliban. It's not. Just like all of the thousands who scrambled after the Iranian Revolution wasn't enough to show this self-evident fact, wasn't enough to disprove this self-evident fact, overwhelming majority of the Iranians were behind the fucking mullahs and Khomeini. Don't give me that little bullshit. So they need the U.S., right? The U.S. trained the Afghan National Army for 20 fucking years, equipped them, gave them the best fucking everything from the world's biggest empire. They couldn't even fucking hold out for a fucking month. Get the fuck out of my face. Oh, the Afghan people, they can't be independent. We need the white man's burden. What nation, what dignified people will accept that? No one. Are you not concerned with the fact that girls won't be able to get an education anymore? Even if that's true, are you not concerned with the fact of bacha bazi being a widespread practice? Are you not concerned with the abuse and rape of children? Get the fuck out of my face with that emotional bullshit. You have to then not be concerned about all of that shit, you know? It's like, what, you want me to trade off women's education for child abuse? What a sickening choice. But here's what I've heard from the news reports, from CNN and news reports. In the cities the Taliban has taken, they haven't banned women's education. What they have is they've segregated schools. So they don't allow male teachers to teach girls. Only women teachers can teach girls. But women are going to school in Taliban-occupied places. No. What your fucking golden goose, which is women's education, doesn't even apply here because from your own news reports, they haven't banned it yet. I don't know. Are they going to in the future? Who knows? But they haven't yet banned it. People are still going to school. They just segregated schools, so it's not a big deal. You know what? I'm going to go off a limb and say, no, that is not a big deal. Segregated schools is not a big deal at all to me. On the basis of gender segregated schools, I don't care. Do I prefer it? No, but is that like some grave injustice? No, it's not. Like, what's so wrong with like demanding women teach girls and men teach boys? It's like, do I necessarily prefer that as a rule myself? No, but like if a country has that rule, How is that like worse than child abuse? I'm Irish and 90% of the schools here are segregated. Yeah. So, dude, go invade Ireland. Go fucking invade Ireland. Treating women like second class citizens is no big deal. So, you're okay with child abuse? Why don't you, first of all, you have to go invade Ireland because Ireland does sex segregated schools. Second of all, you're defending child abuse, right? And by the way, do you think that women are first class citizens under the previous Afghan government? Do you think women have all these rights under the previous government? Because they don't. That's a culture. That's culture. That's not politics. That's culture. Afghan culture is still very male dominated. And that's not because of the government. You actually fucking think like Afghanistan is like Sweden or some shit? Even Sweden, dude, countries are just different. Every country has sexism, whatever. It's just different. You're just a fucking racist trying to like make it seem like Muslims are like the problem. Well, no, dude. It's like that. You guys know that picture that they shared where it's like in the West, you have to wear a bikini, and in the Middle East, you have to wear a burqa, and it's like two sides of the same coin. It's just different. You're just trying to be fucking racist, you know? You're not any fucking better. You're not any fucking better. There's women face pressure to conform to norms and shit in every country. So shut the fuck up. Stop trying to fucking bring out your fucking racist bullshit. Is it possible the Afghan people rebel against the Taliban without weapons? Every Afghan 5-year-old has a weapon. Shut the fuck up. Muslims aren't the problem. It's just the Taliban that's horrible. Okay? Well, that's for the Afghan people to decide. That's for the Afghan people to decide. They're going to be the ones who decide that. Like, I don't care if you find them horrible. It's like, so what do you want from me? Am I the fucking president of Afghanistan? What can I do for you, huh? Oh, I hear. You just want to shill for America and try to convince me that I should go barking and say, Biden, please don't withdraw. No, fuck. Fuck off. That's what you want. You want more American guns and weapons. Let me ask you a question, guys. Are you Americans? Americans, let me ask you a question. What if France came to your country and said, we French men are going to protect your women and children. You men. We French men are going to be the bosses of you men. Would Americans accept that? What fucking country would accept that? Y'all going to accept that? Another country comes and says, we're the real men here. We're the men who own your country. Basically, they're basically saying all the men are bitches. All the men, nothing. Fuck out of here. You just trying to make it seem like Afghan women are weak. Women are not weak. Afghan women are not weak. You're trying to make it seem like they're weak. They're not. If Afghan women want to seek their liberation, they will. They will. They will. They're strong enough to. They don't need you. Fucking loser, creep. Fuck out of Afghanistan. That ain't your country. That ain't your country. You're trying to patronize and infantilize Afghan women. You're trying to patronize, infantilize, and remove the agency of Afghan women. Afghan women are stronger than the strongest American men. Afghan women are literally fucking running. Oh, really? 50% of Afghanistan's running? No. There's just as many men running as women, and they all have in common the social economic background. Fuck out of my face, dumbass. Oh, the women are running. The poor women need our help. Fuck out of my face, you fucking creep. Just because I think they should get an education, that's their business. That ain't your business, bitch. That ain't your fucking business. How was that your business? No one cares what you think about the world. No one cares. What you want for this world and think needs to be in this world, that's in your fucking head. No one cares what you think. No one cares. Keep crying. Most of the refugees are men. Yeah. He's saying, oh, I just want women's education. Well, okay, wait. Listen. On the eve of the invasion of Afghanistan, the Taliban will be deciding. It won't be the women of Afghanistan to decide. Well, we'll see. That's not true, dumbass. Where did the Taliban come from? You think the Taliban came from outer space? Let me tell you something. Listen, dumbass. Realistically, on the eve of the previous Afghan invasion 20 years ago, all the arguments you're saying now, they were saying, we need to free the Afghan women. We need to free them. Oh, from the Taliban. Okay, but you had 20 years to do that. So what you're saying is that there should be a permanent American presence in Afghanistan. So what can they do now that they haven't done in 20 years? Go ahead. Explain. It's been 20 years. You had 20 years to get rid of the Taliban. You couldn't do it. They're coming from somewhere. From somewhere. You had 20 years. How many more years do you want? The bigger issue was that the Taliban was sheltering Al-Qaeda in 2001, and they're still doing that. Nothing changed. Al-Qaeda is still around in Afghanistan, by the way. So that didn't change either. But go ahead and tell me, how many more years do you want? And explain to us how you're going to accomplish your goal in this amount of years that you couldn't in 20 years. What can you do? What can you do that you couldn't do 20 years ago? A small U.S. presence could be sustained in the country forever, though, right? It has to be forever because a big U.S. presence wasn't enough. So you want a permanent American occupation of Afghanistan. Do I read you correct? Afghanistan must be a permanent American colony. Why not just make them the 51st state? Why not just make them the 51st state? Colonialist scumbag. Maintaining a presence is basically an insurance policy. Okay. So why don't you just make it the 51st state? You're going to put your guns and troops in another fucking land. And you're going to occupy that land. The power of the state comes from the barrel of a gun, comes from violence. So America will be the owner of Afghanistan. America will own Afghanistan, be the leader of Afghanistan. We will maintain a presence until the government was capable of... Then why couldn't they do it in 20 years? What is going to happen that couldn't happen in 20 years? They tried for 20 years to set up that fucking government to be capable. And it never happened. So how long do you foresee it will need to happen? Why does it need like 10 generations? Why does it need 10 generations to do? Why can't you do it in 20? You should be able to do it in 5 years. Maximum 5 years. 20 years you couldn't even do it. For 20 years. 20 fucking years.